evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Saturday, March the 23rd, 2024, and this is episode 64 of the Wise Guys Sports Show here on the Wise Guys YouTube channel. And I'm going to bring in my co-host, Mr. Jim Crenity, and we've got a special night planned for you. And Jim, this is a night you and I have waited for a long time.
A very, very long time.
We've been doing the Wise Guys for almost 3 years now, and this show we've been waiting for about 2. We have one of our special guests, one of the YZ Elite, and dare I say, well, we'll leave that part for after the fourth member of the quartet gets here. Our buddy from the Windy City of Chicago, Mr. Alex Ruiz from the Row 7 podcast. Alex, been a minute, bro. How you been?
Life is good, man. Life is busy, but here I am. I'm ready for the show. I'm ready.
Oh, dude, you got no idea.
Locked in.
I will ask you this question. The vibe in Chicago seems to be a little bit better these days with the final figuring out of what the fuck the front office is going to do.
It feels like a relationship with a significant other that just has like bumps. It's like, I guess, going on a flight and experiencing like the plane cruising for a little bit, and then next thing you know, you just hit a boatload of turbulence, and then it's cool again, and then turbulence again. That's kind of what this ride has been here in Chicago.
I'm glad you made the analogy, because the only single one in this room, but the turbulence thing, I totally get.
You've been on one fucking flight, dude.
When I flew out of the Clit, it was the second we hit the Kentucky-Ohio border. It was turbulence for 45 minutes until we got to Cleveland.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
Now do you see how it's going to be tonight?
Let's check the clock here. That was 1 minute and 31 seconds into the show.
Nice.
Yes.
New record.
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is? Jim and I were talking about this a few weeks ago. We have literally had one off the rails segment all year, because it has just been, I mean, if you think about it, the sports world has been so content heavy for this year. I mean, we've been very lucky between, the new quarterback room in Cleveland, which they are calling Crabs and Grabs. The Cavs have been playing very well until recently. We've had baseball news. We've had all this other stuff going on. We did, year 2 of the Wiseys, which, by the way, I sent you something on Instagram. Your buddy Tim Anderson, who's now a member of the Miami Marlins, got the overrated chant in Port St. Lucie. I want to know when he's fighting Mike Tyson.
That might happen later this year.
Probably. Yeah, we compared the Pauls and the Kelseys, the two Cleveland sets of brothers in the sports media world, and we realized that everything that's right with the world is the Kelseys, and the rest of the motherfuckers are the Pauls. I told you, the only thing I support that the Pauls have done.
You know, the funny thing is that it's truly even more of, and Mike, you can attest to this, it's more East Side versus West Side of Cleveland rivalry.
It really is. The Pauls are from the West Side of Cleveland. By the way, if you ever hear them talking about their tough life, what are they, fucking Lakewood? Jim? Yeah, okay. Lakewood is like Joliet or East Joliet. Which one's the nice one? My uncle lives in one of them.
I would say, well, there's Joliet and there's Shorewood. They're kind of like neighboring cities.
Okay, which is the higher end one?
I would say probably Shorewood is much nicer.
They're in Shorewood. They grew up in Shorewood.
Okay.
The Kelseys grew up in the hood.
Okay. Yeah, the Joliet area is not, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's also like, you don't just kind of, walk.
It's not the South Side, though.
Right.
So, the only other thing that's been going on here with me is I've been trading weather forecasts with friends of mine above Mason-Dixon who have stopped talking to me. As like today, one of my closest friends on the planet sends me a picture of his wood stove on, and I send him the thing where it said it was 74 and thunderstorms. So what are you going to do?
You have to.
But Alex, I wanted to ask you something before we get the fourth member on here. With now the ending of the build-up to what your Bears are going to do with the first pick, are you pissed or are you okay with it?
Well, there's two sides to the coin in terms of the way I look at it. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that all this turmoil that has gone on is now done. The one thing that I will say in Fields' favor is that he was given a shitty deck of cards, and that front office did him no favors. So when you ask somebody like that and you put them in a situation to try and succeed, and you essentially put plumbers on the field next to him versus football players, that's a hard way to kind of succeed, if you ask me.
I'm glad that you asked that, Mike, and I'm going to kind of piggyback and I'm going to ask it a little different way. Were you more excited? Were you more excited about having Fields and number one, knowing that you could go out and maybe kind of get a playmaker, or are you now starting to be excited with the fact that you're going to have a shiny new toy under center now? Now that Fields has been moved, and now you've actually got a little extra draft capital.
I think it's nice knowing that presumably they're going to go after this kid from USC, Caleb Williams. What is actually going to turn into is kind of to be determined at this point. Because I've heard, both sides. Some people say he's the next Peyton Manning, which I'm not quite sure we're going to go that far just yet. And other people say like, hey, you can pass on him, like he's not that good. And Mike, I know you and I have had conversations offline where you had kind of made the point that in big games he's basically not showing up. So if that kind of trends here, like I told you, Chicago will probably be drafting another quarterback in the next 2 to 3 years.
And it's not that he hasn't shown up because he's played well, but I don't hear, what pisses me off about it is you don't hear the same narrative that about Caleb. You heard about CJ Stroud going into last year's draft. Jim has said it 1,000 times, and he's not wrong, because Stroud, big game against Oregon, he didn't win. Big game, he had never beat Michigan, lost to Georgia in that national semifinal. All true statements. His individual numbers in those games were impressive. Between those 4 games, over 1,100 yards in the air. I think there was 10 or 12 touchdowns, only 1 interception in those games. So 2 interceptions. But again, the results weren't there. So and my whole thing is, and you know this from talking to me even through Big Rican, now with Wise Guys, if you're gonna blame the quarterback for everything, when you're gonna give him all the credit, you got to blame him for everything too, and vice versa. So the fact of the matter is, USC has played 6 games against teams that could hang with them, and they've lost all 6 in the last 2 years. And that's my issue. He's getting none of the dulling of what he has as far as his skill set goes, as comparison to other quarterbacks in the past. Now, I will say this. Your boy still has some holes to fill. And I personally think and again, I'm a Fields guy, as I wear the Ohio State version of my logo tonight. I personally think the Bears would have been better off bringing in multiple draft picks for number 1, moving down to, say, 7, giving up that first round pick. You got to build an O-line, dude.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is stout, and they've added pieces to the defense. But in years past, and you guys can attest to it as well too, but being a Bears fan, it's always, 1 year your defense is just lights out, the Iron Curtain essentially. And the next thing you know, like the defense kind of either gets traded, you guys retire, guys move on, whatever maybe, and then the offense picks up. But then your defense is terrible and you can't stop a damn thing. So it's never been a moment here in Chicago as far as long as I've been alive where both sides of the team has been fully functional. So I'm hopeful, but I'm not really going to be, optimistic just yet until I see what the final product and what game 1 looks like for them, quite honestly.
I mean, that's really where it's going to have to be at. I know I joke about the quarterback room now, but I say the same thing. We were talking a few weeks ago. We got in depth about the Browns a little bit, and I had said the same thing. I said, they got some fucking holes to fill. And they don't have the money. And they don't have the draft capital. And anybody who thinks Jerry Jeudy is a fucking savior hasn't watched Denver for the last 3 years.
Although they've done a nice job kind of picking, filling some gaps there where they
have
restructuring.
They absolutely have. But the thing is, Jim, there's nobody else to restructure. After this season, there's nothing left to do.
I mean,
you got to eat it.
The surprising thing is the one person who has not been restructured is, I'm sorry, I keep actually looking like a squirrel, passing in front of a dog.
Squirrel. Squirrel.
As I'm like, I've got the NC State and Oakland game on in the background, and it's now NC State by 6 with 12 seconds to go, but Oakland just forced a turnover where no time came off. But the only person that's been yet to be restructured, and I think it more than likely is going to be the next one, is going to be Nicholas Jamal Chubb. I think they're going to have
I'd do one of those. If I was him, I'd do one of these. And here's why. We talked about it. This fan base adores running backs. This is the fan base that got Peyton Hillis on the cover of fucking Madden. Jim, if you look at social media, there is not much of the Browns fan base on social media that is happy with the fact that Deshaun Watson's our quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
Especially after what Flacco did last year.
If you think about it in the grand scheme, it was, are they going to pay Baker? Is Baker worth that kind of money? And then they go out and they forego the future. They bring Deshaun in. And then you actually have, that you couldn't trade Baker because nobody would take him. And then
no, you couldn't trade Baker because no one was going to do the Browns a favor after Deshaun's contract.
Exactly. And then, Baker kind of flounders for a couple of years, and people are starting to think, oh, the Browns are smart for unloading like this, as NC State held on. And then Baker hits lightning in a bottle last year when he actually gets a bona fide number one, and now he and Mike Williams are both coming back. Then does what I told you he was going to do. Right. He took the team-friendly deal to keep his boys there. Exactly. And then, Deshaun gets suspended, and the entire season's basically over after that punishment came down. And then last year comes out of the chute hot, gets hurt, gets outplayed by really all of his backups predominantly. Only threw for 300 yards once in the 6 games that he's played, and now they bring in a guy who's got, I don't want to say as bad of a track record off the field as him, but it's pretty damn bad and is marginal at best and has only played, I think, in 1 playoff game. Well, and now what are you going to do? Let's do this. In fairness, it is customary for all Florida State football players to do whatever the fuck they want. I don't blame him for taking gifts like that. But crab legs, motherfucker, really? Let's also remember the stolen soda and Burger King, the sexual assault allegation that eventually got dropped. So it's par for the course. So there are 2 peas in the pot in that quarterback room, is what you're saying. Pretty much. Okay.
Over under 27 and a half interceptions this season for him.
If he plays.
I'm going to say as a quarterback room, I'm going to go over. Okay. I mean, between the 4 of them, you got 4. I brought it up last week when they signed Jameis. They've got 4 guys in that room, and not one of them knows how to stand in the pocket and make a throw, and 2 of them can't read a defense. And one of the guys that can read a defense is only because he graduated from UCLA, but he doesn't have the athletic talents to move himself up from anything other than the 3rd, and that was Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
And Baker's going to win the NFC South again. Although, I will say this. Have you seen the memes coming out about Kirk Cousins in Atlanta?
That is highly, highly entertaining material.
The I Love Black Girls one, the little white dude in the t-shirt, just fucking. It's so bad, dude. It's so bad.
I seen that one, and I certainly got a laugh out of that one.
Oh my god. So Jim, why don't we start the hat trick, and then we'll pick it up when Mr. Rice gets here, because I don't think Alex has heard that yet.
No, he is not.
No,
We only started doing it 3 weeks ago, right? Something like that.
You only put the sound effects to it 3 weeks ago, but yeah,
Okay.
hit the button, my man.
It's the 3 biggest topics in the world of sports from the last week. Get ready for the Wise Guys hat trick.
Now, the difference is this week it's not so much of a hat trick. It's the entire first half of the show is pretty much being dedicated to the chaos that has been the NFL free agency period.
Which chaos is actually putting it kind of light.
Yeah, so...
Alex looks genuinely impressed.
I am.
What's been the biggest move that any one of you have thought so far? The Kirk Cousins move, the Jerry Jeudy move, Van Der Esch being forced to retire in Dallas. I mean, there's been some good ones out there. Buffalo's house cleaning.
Scarily enough, I'm going to go to East Rutherford, and I'm going to say what the New York Jets have done. They just rebuilt that entire offensive line. They bring in, is it Carter, the All-Pro, the left tackle? I mean, they just spent a shit ton of money on offensive tackles and O-linemen.
They brought on the Jets brought on Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, and Mike Williams so far as marquee additions according to ESPN.
So you've added 2 marquee offensive linemen, and you added a guy who can go for 1,000 yards next to Garrett Wilson.
If he can stay healthy.
That's all of them, though, dude. Their quarterback lasted 8 seconds. I mean, it's,
Because why did he last 8 seconds, and why is Mike Williams on thin ice right now? Why is that, Michael?
Do you watch Benchwarmer Brand, Alex?
Do I watch who again?
Benchwarmer Brand, the guy who does the videos where he plays all the different players.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He did one about MetLife's turf and Mike Williams getting hurt, and he's sitting there. He's got a hoodie on and glasses. He's going like this. And the bottom says MetLife turf. It's bad.
It's the MetLife turf monster.
It is. And listen, he's not wrong. The only one worse is Washington. We're on the same spot in the field. Everybody broke their damn leg or tore their ACL. I'll tell you what, I'm shocked Washington did not try and trade up to get number 1 to take Caleb Williams, because they have a halfway decent football mind in there now, and Dan Quinn. They got his old offensive coordinator to run the show. Why they didn't just throw their next 3 drafts at the Bears, I don't know. But Jim, my answer is the Jets for that. But who else? Alex, what do you think is the most?
I mean, shocking. I think you guys keyed into it. The whole Kirk Cousins situation, especially him coming off of the Achilles injury. I mean, I guess is he going to be able to start game 1, or is he going to probably miss at least the first 4 games?
No, it sounds like he's ready to go.
Oh, he's ready to go. Wow. Okay.
I mean, if you look at the NFL honors when he did the fucking Magic Mike dance, I mean, it tells me he's doing all right.
I mean, I've seen guys in the past normally, they're out in like 9 to 12 months. So I didn't know if he was going to be like good to go, but apparently this Achilles injury is not as bad as it once was in the past.
Was it a full tear or was he a partial?
That I don't know. It could have just been
Rodgers. Yeah, Rodgers was a full tear.
Okay.
Like you heard people talking about how they heard what they call it the gunshot.
Yeah, the pop.
The pop. Which, God, I hope I never experience that.
It sounds terrible, quite honestly.
It sounds terrifying. I think Kirk Cousins in Atlanta said, look, man, people are saying they're competent quarterback play away from winning that division last year. I disagree. I think it's Tampa's division to lose again.
No, it's Tampa's for sure.
Yeah. And you give Baker another year with those guys. That's going to be big. That's going to be big.
I'm going to go to probably one of the first ones that was off the board here. I'm going to say Saquon to Philadelphia, because not only do you actually shore up the backfield and take and allow Hurts to start now beating you with his arm, because as he's transitioned into a much more efficient of a pocket passer, you rip the best running back in the division away from one of your primary rivals who is on the up and up.
Dude, New York is pissed.
How about Tiki Barber right now?
Tiki Barber's a fucking asshole and should shut up. Dude, he does the afternoon, it's either late morning or early afternoon radio show in New York on WFAN. Mm-hmm. So I still follow it because, of course, it's Mets talk this time of year. Tiki, shut the fuck up. No one cares what you think.
I think, well, doesn't he also have I don't know if it's a daily or a weekly show on CBS National, CBS Sports, CBS Radio National.
It might be. Yeah, he might be daily.
Tiki and Tiernan?
No, that's his everyday one.
Okay.
And now it used to be Tiki and Tierney, but Brandon Tierney moved to later in the day. Actually, Brandon Tierney moved to the afternoon slot, which used to be Mike and the Mad Dog, to go up against Michael Kay on ESPN radio. And yeah, Tiki's with Evan Roberts now, who used to be with Joe Beningo. But yeah, no one cares. Like, Evan's talking as a Met fan, and Tiki's like, oh, well, the money side of it. And he's like, shut up. Shut up.
Really quickly, here's another one that just came to my mind. How about Derrick Henry going to Baltimore?
Fucking scary.
I don't know about that. I really don't. I mean, I think Henry's kind of in the twilight of his career, and he's already the second best running back in that room, for a running back room that can't stay healthy. And that's including the guy who takes snaps under center.
I was just going to say that, but the guy you're talking about is not in the running back room.
Yeah, he actually just reads a different clipboard. He actually gets, the only difference between him and the running back room is he gets a microphone in his helmet.
Wow. How about Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs?
That's pretty scary.
That's a very, very underrated one.
But now you're able to stretch the field. I'm going to say this. Yes, Saquon, that's huge, because he's going to be able to stretch the field, and you can't bulk the middle. Watch Travis have a fucking monster year next year. On top of that, Jim, I want to go back to your point about Saquon of the Eagles. The Eagles losing Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelce is a bigger thing for them than adding Saquon. You are talking about, and again, this is biased because of area loyalty and love for the guy. You're talking about maybe one of the top 5 best centers of all time, who, if you look at every Eagles offensive record, he was the center for it. Most points in a season, most yards by a running back, best quarterback seasons. Jason Kelce was the anchor of that offensive line. They are going to take a step back, and it's not even close.
I kind of want to pose this question now, but I also want to pose it when John gets here shortly. Bigger loss, Jason Kelce retiring from the Eagles or Aaron Donald retiring from the Rams?
Aaron Donald from the Rams. I love Kelce, but it's not close.
Yeah, Donald.
The Rams were a team that could have pushed the Niners next year. Not anymore.
We said it during our Super Bowl show a couple of years ago, is that, if he went out and won a Super Bowl, does he retire? Well, we were right. It's just, we were just a year or two early.
Yeah, no, I was shocked, to be honest with you. What's 10 years?
Yeah, he's 32.
That's somebody who wants to be able to walk.
Is it wrong or wishful thinking that part of me thinks maybe he takes a year off, and the fact that he would come back at possibly 33 next year and maybe sign a 1-year Jadeveon Clowney type deal and play with Myles Garrett?
Okay. Let me ask you the question of the day. How the fuck are they paying him?
Veteran minimum. Because they can restructure a deal and they're going to have draft capital next year.
You're stoned. I'm not getting. Listen. Now, dream scenario. That would make the hair on my neck stand up to watch those two rush the passer. But my question stands. He's not going to retire. And his contract isn't up after next year either. He's got a couple more years left on his deal with the Rams. So how are you getting him away from the Rams?
I'm actually looking to see if that contract's guaranteed because they may not have to pay for that, or not the Rams, the Browns, if that happened.
If the contract is guaranteed for those years, they got to trade for him. Just like somebody wanted to bring in McAfee a couple years ago, and the Colts still owned his rights. So they would have had to have traded somebody or something to the Colts to get Pat McAfee, who would have kicked for it was the Bears. The Bears wanted him to come in and kick, not punt, place kick.
He didn't do that.
No, he hurt his knee trying to warm up to do it.
Aaron Donald's not owed anything else. He was completing that contract. Back in earlier in March, they converted 13.87 of his salary into signing bonus, the Rams did to clear up 9.25 of that. But this was Donald's last year under contract.
Yeah, but how does it work if he retires and wants to come back? Because technically, if this was his last year,
he'd be a free agent. Season, he'd be an unrestricted free agent.
Okay. Because I thought they would still own rights because he retired and didn't play.
I mean, the Rams would have had first rights, but I mean, if he came back, but if he tried to come back midway through the season, if he actually pulled a Brady to where he said, I'm retired, and then he kind of gets the itch midway through the season, wants to come back, absolutely, he would actually have to, give back some of that money and then suit up for the Rams for the rest of the year. But after the season, that contract is completely up. He's a UFA. He can go wherever he wants if he wanted to come back.
See, but I thought that's what Gronk did when he retired. But then Tampa had to send something. I thought Gronk was a UFA after the year after retire because he retired and sat a year and then came out of retirement to go play with Brady. Huh. And I know Tampa had to send New England something to get Gronk. I know it wasn't much. By that point,
because I'm looking at it is that where was it? April 1st, 2020, Tampa traded he was traded to Tampa Bay from New England with a 2027 for a 2024. He retired March of 2019, clearing 9.85 in cap space. Where was he signed a 6-year, $54 million contract in June of 2012, which would have expired after 2018, and then signed a 1-year deal with Tampa. So by retiring prior to the contract done, but then coming out of retirement, that's where New England still owned his rights.
Jim, send it to John on Facebook. Sorry. Yeah, but so with Gronk's contract done and him retiring, that's what I'm saying. It would be, I think it's going to be the same thing with Donald. You're going to have to give something to the Rams. What the fuck do the Browns have to give to the Rams? Because Gronk, Donald, it's not the same thing.
To quote our little group chat on Facebook earlier, marbles.
Huevos. I found a reel.
We're going to talk some movies tonight in the
We are, Alex. I found a reel. It said before Ichiro and Ohtani, there was Tanaka.
Maybe in Japan, that's better than catching a ball. Personally, I think he's just trying to get out of the lineup.
Oh, shit.
I didn't sell him outright. I got you an outfielder. An outfielder from the Giants.
Franklin?
Not those Giants. You have fulfilled your contract, sir.
You
Well, I was over on the
Donald of the Wise Guys Sports Show.
Yes, you are. When I was over sitting on the couch, because I like this back better, and the light pole's not next to me. I was sitting on the couch. One would be sleeping on top of it, and the other one would be doing this, like trying to grab at me. Is that grin because he's on?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. So, what the hell was I going to say? I
do have to ask as a method of personal vanity, since you finally saw the final result, what did you think of the new logo, Mike?
I love it. I absolutely love it. The gold is perfect. So Jim and I we've been going back and forth, and listen, I'll say this out loud. I'll say it to you, and I've said it to John. We would not be nearly as polished or as technically advanced as we have been without him. I mean, dude, you were on Big Reek, and it was just, let's go. Let's do this. He puts all this time in.
Mm-hmm.
If I had it, I would put more in. I really don't. But I've said it before. I'll say it again, dude. You are a fucking genius with this stuff.
Thank you.
Jim is the technical director. I'm the asshole who thinks up the stupid ideas.
Mike is the producer. Mike is the director. I'm the producer.
If we were doing this, I'm the VP of sales because I get all you people to come on. And Jim is the CEO. I'm the COO.
Fair. Okay.
It's just how it works.
Would I be the assistant to the regional? Would I be the assistant to the regional manager?
You could be.
I think you rate higher than that. Since I got you two, and we talk about wrestling when you two were there. Did you see anybody see the end of SmackDown?
No, I didn't see it yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
So Roman shows up to talk to Cody. Cody extends the hand and said, "Good luck at WrestleMania." And Roman goes out. This woman on a microphone in a video, but the WWE camera's right here. She goes, "You got to have a room full of people who don't know you acknowledge you, you pussy." Fucking dead. And then he goes like this, and Solo and one of the Usos come out of the stands, and they're like, you think they're going to jump him?
Because Roman said, Cody said he'd show up to SmackDown if Roman came alone, and Roman said he'd let him if Cody came alone, and then he planted the trap, and then all of a sudden you turn around and Cody just starts smiling, and here comes Jimmy
Uso and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins wearing the Pit Viper sunglasses and a red velour jumpsuit. And goes like this.
I listened to the Chris Van Vliet podcast, who is probably one of the best sports podcasters out there. He's gone a lot more wrestling centric in the last few months, but he had Becky Lynch on a few months ago, and they were talking about Seth's wardrobe and how outlandish it is. And Becky is like seriously considering taking some of Seth's more outlandish outfits and like resizing them for her when she was Big Match Bex.
That's fun.
Their daughter is the cutest kid ever.
Sorry.
Next to yours.
Thank you. But the funny thing I found with these guys is, I don't watch it much. I catch it on YouTube. I don't have regular cable, so I get my AEW stuff from him outside of the guy from the Acclaimed going and hitting against the King of JUCO. Please tell me you saw that, Alex.
I did see that.
Oh, my God. In the full Hulk Hogan fucking...
By the way, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang is no more. They turned on.
I saw that. I thought you. I felt for you when that happened, sir. I poured one out for you, man. I'm sorry.
So, Alex, more excited for Mercedes Monet or Kazuchika Okada?
Probably Mercedes Monet, quite honestly. I know I've heard of Okada, but like I'm not really familiar with his wrestling. I'm actually I would actually like plot twist. I'm probably more interested to see more of a Will Ospreay, quite
Thank
honestly,
you.
because I've seen some of his matches and he's pretty fucking good in the ring, and he's also like electric on the mic as well too. So
And he's only 30, bruv.
yeah.
Breaking news. Dusty May, the Florida Atlantic head coach, is leaving Florida Atlantic to become the new head coach at the University of Michigan.
Wow. I kind of expected he was going to jump after they went out in the first round. I didn't expect him to take the Michigan job.
I'm surprised. I thought Michigan would hire from within again. But listen, this is a year that's a pretty big coaching loss year. You lose 2 generational alumni. One to the NFL, the next level, and the other one to absolute ineptness, unfortunately.
And then also Dusty leaving a program who was in the Final Four last year.
Yeah, but it's FAU versus Michigan is what it is. It's not. That's like the DeBoer leaving Washington for Alabama. It's not even a.
Yeah, you're not going to really argue with that.
No. And I'm sure, you take a team to a Final Four. FAU ever go anywhere in the tournament before last year?
Not really. I think they had a couple. I think they had a Sweet 16 or 2 in there, but not nearly a run that deep.
Yeah, no, I never remember seeing FAU out of the. You sent that in Messenger, right? I just realized I didn't. Okay. I just sent that to him. So yeah, that I was just checking the scores because I know I want to see where we're at, and one of the games at halftime is over. Duquesne is just done.
Yeah, Illinois is up 24 at the half.
Don't come out for the second half.
What's the score right now?
50 to 26, Illinois.
Can they make a run, Alex?
They could, but I feel like they're going to run into a roadblock at some point. But I mean, it'd be nice to see them make it to maybe the Final Four.
Well, if they win, they get Iowa State, who looked damn good today.
They did look pretty good. I
think Iowa State's out for blood because they should have supplanted North Carolina as that 4th number 1. Although you can't really argue that. Then again, they were playing against an overachieving Michigan State today.
Did they beat Michigan State?
No, they won by 17, but it was a very close game for until right about midway through the second half. Carolina would go on a run, Michigan State would go on a run, close it to like maybe a field goal or 2. Michigan State would jump ahead by 1. North Carolina would go on like a 6-0 run, something like that, and then just pulled away late. Armando Bacot, 18.7 rebounds, and he's second in career scoring for North Carolina.
Are you serious?
Wow.
Yeah. Can you name the number 1 scorer in all time in North Carolina? The only hint you get, it's not Michael.
No, I knew it wasn't Michael.
What decade is it from? Is this person from?
90s.
Antoine Jameson?
Maybe early 2000s.
It's not Tyler Hansborough, is it?
It is Tyler Hansborough. 2,800 and change.
He was another son of a bitch no one liked.
I just remember he was one of the characters when you had NBA Live 94 where you could actually input the rookies and then they would be hidden in the game as you were creating players. Back when those games were fun.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got no video if you can hear us, John. We've actually the same issue you usually have when you come in, buddy.
I just told him.
I didn't know if he could see or hear us, but we can't see him.
Hey, we never gave him his report card for the Super Bowl, Jim.
Maybe we could do that tonight since Alex is here and, Alex watched the game too.
Yeah, but we don't really know if there was any issues with the microphone from the coaches to the quarterbacks.
It would have been better if we actually would have had, after he tackled the quarterback, he was giving him the business.
Oh, did we tell you that we got a copyright strike for the reviewing the Paramount Plus commercial?
Are you serious?
Yeah, we did. Not because of the Paramount Plus commercial, because of Creed.
Fucking Creed. Scott Stapp,
Jim.
you bastard.
Jim, you have got to put fucking Creed on the soundboard.
I'll cut that tomorrow. So, gentlemen, I need to step out for about 2 minutes here. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, this is like an old school thing you would hear.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh,
Here we go.
what? All right. One quick
Ready?
question.
Yeah.
All right. I got a quick question here.
Okay.
What kind of production you guys running? Are you guys the same people that booked the Yale band to travel?
Probably.
Because what is going on here? Do I have to get Idaho State to come in and take my place here?
First of all, it was
Or Idaho or what?
It was the
whatever.
Iowa band. Let's stop it. It was a Big Ten band. The only
Oh, was
Big
it-
Ten
oh, was
band
it
to pull
Iowa?
that shit off. It was Iowa.
Oh, it was Iowa. I thought
We
it was
all
Idaho.
know I'm not one of those anymore. But anyway, I'm a married man.
Yes.
So
Not Idaho,
introductions-
Udaho.
Exactly. Alex, John, Alex.
What's up, John?
What's up, dude? Yeah, I think we did the baseball preview last year.
We
Last
did, I
spring
do remember.
together.
That's right, you did. Okay.
And then he's
I'm
been
doing that
avoiding
next-
me ever since. So
Yo, I got a funny one for you. So one of the reaction channels that I watched did they called it a trailer palooza. They reviewed the Knuckles TV show coming to Paramount Plus, which looks sick. They did Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so I've watched the trailer.
so good.
I might want to see that movie,
It's so good.
but still the best one.
I never did a trailer breakdown, but I did a Planet of the Apes ranking
I watched it.
where I ranked all 9 Planet of the Apes movies.
I was getting stuff set up one morning. I got into work early, and what was rocking? The Sporting Sith Planet of the Apes breakdown.
That was pretty cool. That was fun.
No, listen. All right, so it's time. We're going to drop you guys off, and I'm cutting a promo. You'll come back in a minute.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Drop
boy.
them off, Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 years in the making. The moment we have wanted for those 2 years. The Four Horsemen of the Wise Apocalypse. Myself, the Big Rican on Sports, Mike Martinez. The Sporting Sith, John Rice. From row 7 in Windy City, Chicago, Alex Ruiz. And of course, the nature boy of the group, JC Bluno.
I love it. Love
I don't
it.
even know. He sent me that video and sends me a message. He goes, "Get on video chat right now."
That was amazing. That was awesome.
Jim,
great job.
Jim, you're
guys.
muted. Jim, you're muted. We couldn't hear the woo.
Did we need to?
We did.
You got to run it back.
Got to start it all over.
Start
All
over.
over.
Hey,
Although-
shut up, fat boy.
What the fuck was that?
You're pointing in the wrong direction. I don't know where the squares are on your guys' screen.
Why do I feel like we're like the defunct Brady Bunch right now?
I know. Hi, Mike.
Hey, John. Oh my God! So we finally got the Four Horsemen together. So, John, we've been talking about the craziness that's been the NFL, and craziness being the operative word. So, Alex is a Bears fan, and the first question I asked him is, "He
welcome to misery."
He's in Cleveland. He can say that
every day.
Yeah. Since 1999 for us.
So then we have the Browns quarterback room, which has been affectionately nicknamed Crabs and Grabs.
Wow. Yeah. That's yeah, I mean, I got nothing.
So we asked each other before you got on what we thought the biggest move of the NFL offseason has been. And it ranged from, I thought what the Jets have done to protect Aaron Rodgers and get him more weapons has been pretty impactful. Jim felt Saquon Barkley to Philadelphia was the biggest move. Alex picked Kirk Cousins, which if you've seen the memes about Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, it's been actually quite funny.
Yes, I completely agree.
What do you think the biggest move so far?
I think the biggest move so far of the NFL has been no move at all out of the Dallas Cowboys. What are they thinking?
It's the fucking Cowboys.
According to Barnes, to Brand, they nap through just like they always do.
Yeah, but I just don't understand it. Like you look at their playoff appearance, if you want to even call it that. They lost to a rookie quarterback out of Green Bay, essentially a rookie quarterback out of Green Bay, and Green Bay is one of the youngest teams in the NFL right now. They are only going to get better with experience and all that stuff. I was shocked actually looking at Green Bay's roster and seeing how young they actually are. So they're going to be a force to reckon with in the NFC for a while. But in all honesty, I think the biggest actual move was Saquon Barkley of Philly. I mean, he is. He's not the workhorse he used to be, but he is a weapon. And if he's utilized in the right way, he can still be extremely effective.
John, what about losing Kelsey? You add a running back the year you lose the centerpiece of your offensive line.
Yeah, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. And in all honesty, I don't know if Philly knew a lot of what was going on with Saquon Barkley prior to his retirement announcement. But if they did, if they had an idea that they were going to be bringing on Saquon Barkley and they still let this man retire, then boo on them. Because they should have absolutely, if they knew prior to his retirement announcement, they should have absolutely gave him a heads up and said, hey, think about coming back for one more year. We got something in the works. And he was the staple of the offensive line. He was the staple of the offense. I mean, you know what I mean? So as he was one of the most important pieces of that entire offense. So if they knew what they were going to do, or if they had an idea what the process was and they did not include him in it, then absolutely boo on them.
Let's
Alex throws up in his mouth a little bit with John actually giving praise to the Green Bay Packers, being a Chicagoan.
I mean, they've always whipped our ass. So I mean, until we prove otherwise, like what the fuck can I say? And John, just for reference, Green Bay is actually is the youngest team in the NFL.
They're okay. I said one of, so it was pretty damn close. So there you go. So that's it. They're going to be scary. They're going to be scary.
And you know what else is scary? It's the Cleveland Browns, who have the most sexual offenders in their locker room right now.
Wow. And Robert Kraft isn't even there.
Well, now hold on. He may not be a sexual predator, but he may not be a sexual predator, but Jimmy Haslam's been investigated by the FBI. So let's not go there. Let's give him his credit where credit is due.
Yeah, they there's a lot to be said for some of the things that they've done, but at the same time, it's a hard. That's really a tough topic to discuss. It's because, and the reason why I say that is it's really easy to jump on the hatred bandwagon and mud throwing bandwagon on that, but it's at the same time nothing has been proven. Nothing has been, it's all accusational right now. It's still accusational. Nothing has been actually proven. He has not been found guilty of anything. We can all speculate. Everything is just pure speculation. So with that being said, it's hard for me to jump on the mudslinging bandwagon.
I mean, we can all probably agree, though, that the only mudslinging that justifiably that we can do right now is he is probably the fifth best quarterback in a four team division right now.
I can't argue that. Cannot argue that at all.
So let me ask the two native Clevelanders. I am a transplant. Don't know which organ, but I'm a transplant. Scarier scenario: a backfield with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, or a quarterback room with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields for a team that went to the playoffs with Kenny fucking Pickett?
I'm going to go Baltimore easily just because Pittsburgh still doesn't have any weapons.
I'm going Baltimore just because even without Travis Henry, they still have Lamar Jackson.
Alex,
had he only been here 10 minutes earlier, where he actually could have heard our little rant on the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, really?
Which one was that? We ran on the Ravens almost every fucking show, Jim.
The Derrick Henry signing with them is still now going to be the second best quarterback.
Second best running back in the room. Gotcha.
And the only difference between him and the guy who lines up under center is the guy who lines up under center gets a microphone in his helmet.
Yeah, that's yep.
So, Alex, you had mentioned your hated Green Bay Packers. So I want to ask the room, but I'm going to start with you. Crazier scenario. That Green Bay, are you seriously wearing the fucking Scissor Me Daddy shirt right now?
Yes, I am. I worked out in it.
You're burying yourself. I can't.
Oh, my God.
So, scarier thought for you. You guys coming in with a rookie quarterback with a lot of unfinished business against that team, or that team getting better because they are the youngest team in the league?
Oh, I think that team getting better because they're the youngest team in the league, 100%. Yeah, it's kind of daunting just because, like, I know the Bears have retooled, but as we've mentioned and as we've noticed here in Chicago, there's still quite a bit of holes that need to be filled. So until proven otherwise that we can go into Green Bay or play here in Green Bay South, they will continue to beat us.
Well, let me ask you this question, Alex. As a Bears fan, completely not even news guy aside here, your honest opinion as a Bears native, diehard, however you want to classify it, who do you feel that you match up with or can contend with better right now? The Packers with their youth, or the Lions possibly coming off of a hangover where they were 2 minutes away from the Super Bowl and Dan Campbell went Dan Campbell?
I'd probably say the Lions because I feel like the Lions will always find a way to lion. Quite honestly, I mean, they're a scary team. They got a lot of weapons. But I don't know. I think Dan Campbell's a great coach, but I think he always finds a way to outcoach himself. So I think that could be like maybe our saving grace. When in the final 2 minutes he makes a bonehead call, goes for it on 4th and 5 rather than kicking a field goal type of situation, and you kind of get lucky basically.
So can we are all four of us kind of unanimously in agreement that Kirk Cousins or not, Drake May aside, that Minnesota's now gone to the bottom of that division?
Oh yeah,
I would.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I obviously I'm a big fan of the Bears' former quarterback from where he went to school. But Alex, you're right in the first part. They gave him 3 piles of garbage and a Swiss cheese grater at offensive line and no weapons until last year. And now is Josh Dobbs going to be the starter in Minnesota?
He should be.
Mike, there's
about
no way
Rex
to talk
Grossman?
about Rex Grossman or Jim McMahon as former Bears quarterbacks.
There's
Hey,
that
Jim-
track record of developing quarterbacks.
Jim McMahon is the reason they won the Super Bowl.
Tony Eason is the reason they won that Super Bowl.
The best defense in the history of the NFL is the reason why they won that Super Bowl.
I'm still a little unhappy that Fridge got a touchdown and Peyton didn't.
Yeah, well, yeah. My grandfather actually officiated that game.
Did he really?
Yeah.
It was the first Super Bowl I ever remember watching on TV.
He was in Chicago and handed Walter Payton the ball when he broke the record.
Whoa,
Wow.
Get the fuck out of here.
that's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John comes from like an NFL lineage.
A little bit. I just remember the Fog Bowl, Philly at Chicago, when the TV
Cunningham with a 90-some-odd yard punt.
that was in a dome. I think that was in Minnesota.
Was it?
I'm
thought
pretty
that was
sure.
that game.
I think John's right on that. I think it was on turf because it got like a bunch of
Because
really
it
weird
rolled and
Field
rolled
was
and
turf
rolled.
then.
It rolled.
Soldier
No,
Field
but
was turf then.
well, it was, but it wasn't. It was not.
Okay.
It was in a dome. I'm pretty sure it was in a dome
Okay.
because it was not. It was not the Fog Bowl. The Fog Bowl was TV cameras couldn't even see the field.
That was hilarious. I
That
remember
was
game.
awesome.
So going back to this year, Jim also posed the question: bigger retirement hit, John, Aaron Donald or Jason Kelsey?
Oh boy, flip a coin.
Well, the three of us said you said the same thing, right, Alex? Or did we?
No, I
all
said
three of us said Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Flip a coin.
Really?
Absolutely.
The Randall Cunningham punt was against the Giants.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it was turf.
Yep.
So it was at
Regardless
Meadowlands.
of where it was.
Meadowlands. Because I know they were wearing all white. I know that for sure.
Yeah, whether it was the Meadowlands or the Vet, it was on turf.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're a coin flip on that.
I am. I think Jason Kelsey was by far the best center in the league. He was just so like I don't know. He got this player got a real raw deal coming out of college because he got drafted by the Browns, of course. But Alex Mack was
so good.
Was probably one of the best centers I've ever seen coming out of high school, going into the NFL, or coming out of college and going to the NFL. His feet. He was so fast. He was so fast. And Jason Kelsey kind of reminded me and kind of fit that same mold of just like deceptive speed and just quickness. I should say quickness, not so much speed, but just so much quickness. And Aaron Donald, as good as he is, and he's great. I mean, he's a great defensive player, great defensive lineman. I think defensive linemen are more easily replaceable than offensive linemen, in my opinion.
See, I would say exterior offensive linemen are harder to replace than the dominant interior defensive lineman. You can get a guy on the edge if he's quicker than the tackle, he can get around the edge and get to the quarterback. That guy in the middle who's got to body dudes out of the way and be dominant like that. I always thought the left tackle. You're talking about the lines. The left tackle on the offensive line and the D tackle / nose guard on the defensive line were the two positions that I was just like, yo, if you get somebody there that can game disrupt, you are fucking set.
I don't disagree with that, but also how many 5-star all-pro defensive ends got around Joe Thomas?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I said the left tackle, because if you get a left tackle who's a Joe Thomas type, an Orlando Pace type,
And I think Jason Kelsey was that for the center position.
Okay, I see.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think he was
Okay.
the pinnacle of the center position. Is what I'm
All
saying.
right. Okay, I get it now.
I think,
yeah.
and as great as Donald is, and I'm not taking anything away from his greatness.
Yeah.
I just think Jason Kelsey as a center is a little bit higher level than Donald as a defensive lineman.
Okay,
That's just my opinion. I'm not
that's fair.
so.
That's an interesting way of putting it. I'd like that.
That's a damn good. I like that too. Oh, by the way, off topic. Dusty May, the FAU head coach, is now the head coach at Michigan basketball.
Oh.
It just came right before you came on. I jumped in with that.
Oh, okay. I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
I don't either, but I will say this. That's 2 tough coaching losses for that school in the same year.
Well, Juwan Howard needed to go. He needed to go. He was turning into Bobby Knight at the end of his career. Just lost his mind. For some reason.
Juwan Howard's greatest hits as a head coach at the University of Michigan is not going to be what his team did on. It's all the guys that he ended up shoving off of it.
Yeah, and the stupid decisions he made coming onto the court to just berate officials and really just all right, maybe not even Bobby Knight, maybe more like a Bobby Huggins at the end of his career. Just how psycho and just losing their mind. And it's how do you go from being a coach to then just being an idiot? You are ahead.
You can't take Detroit out of the boy.
Well, yeah. Well, true. But seriously though, you are the head coach of a prestigious organization. You can't be that. I mean, and I understand the roots of his emotions. I mean, he played there. He grew up in Detroit. He bleeds maize and blue, so it's I get it. I understand it. But at the same time, you can't let your emotions get the better of you when you're coaching a prestigious program like that. You just can't.
And we're going to talk about another. We're going to talk about another coach at a prestigious university who made some waves here in the last 48 hours in the on the second half of the show. Are the Miami Dolphins the best team in the AFC East now that Buffalo basically decides to unload half of their roster, it seemed?
Why not, Mike?
Yeah, I want to know this. I want to hear this.
Because they can't beat teams over 500. Because when Tua plays against teams that can play with him, he's a fucking ass. He's been doing it since he was at Alabama.
Shut your face, Rican.
Bite it. If you look at his numbers against teams, I did this on Big Rican in 2018. He played 3 games against teams in the top 30 in defense in that year. His completion percentage went from 74 to 59. His touchdown interception went even, and he went down by yards per game, almost 120 yards. They just had the. I'm gonna say this, and Jim's not gonna like it. They just had the best team in the AFC East this year, and because he couldn't beat anybody with a winning fucking record, they ended up having to go to Kansas City and play in a goddamn sub-zero hell frozen over. No, until he learns how to beat teams that are better, as good as he is, they're not going to be shit.
You know why? Because he doesn't throw the child.
You're an asshole. But did he throw Peppa Pig?
Did you get the photo I sent you of Peppa Pig in my office?
Yes.
Our office is moving in 2 weeks, and all the desks that they're actually trying to pack up, they literally look like Peppa Pig stood up on its side.
You shut your face, Barrymore.
Well, all right. No, we'll probably touch on it later, so I'm not even gonna bring it up right now. I'm looking at the scores from today's games.
Oh no, yeah, we're gonna hit Jim was having. Did you see Up? Did your kids see Up, the Disney movie?
I think the older two have, yeah. Cam has not yet.
It looked like Peppa fucking Pig.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
So in Up, the dog that speaks is talking to the old man and all of a sudden goes, "Squirrel!" This dude watching the Oakland NC State game was the fucking dog.
That's funny. Wow.
Alex, did you say scroll once too?
I've seen a number of them.
That's so funny.
We have those moments in my house when I'm doing this show.
Games, it was the only one of the 3 games before we went live that was worth a damn.
Oh, that's because people got taken to the fucking woodshed today.
In the second half, at least, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I have the scroll moments here when I have the bananas on. Hey, John, are you going to try and go to those games there?
No. What
No.
games? What
The
games?
bananas.
Oh, no,
People
no,
playing
I'm not.
at the Jake.
I am not. I think I believe my 2 older ones are going to be going with their mom, but I am not.
I don't know if they've announced the lottery just yet, but yeah, I would definitely love to be able to get tickets for that.
I'm an hour south of Savannah.
But I'm actually taking Carson to his first Indians game this year, so that'll be
Nice.
Guardians game, whatever they're called.
You're good. You're good.
The bridge up north. We'll just say it that way.
The team who should have actually used Pants' logo instead.
Agreed. Hello.
The team who dishonored the Indians by changing their name from the Indians.
Yeah. Considering the story behind why they named them the Indians, yeah.
Yeah.
I still was a little partial to Spiders.
I was hoping they went back to Spiders. I was hoping they did that.
I'm glad they didn't, because now I'd be able to get my wife to another game.
Hey, I'm terrified of spiders too, but
Yeah.
I would wear that apparel.
Would you be scared of yourself if you walked past a mirror?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm petrified of bees. It doesn't mean I wouldn't go to a Charlotte Hornets game.
You go to a Charlotte Hornet game and fly into the clit again.
Shut up.
Hey, as long as there's a nice landing strip, I'm all right.
What a dick.
Sleeping.
What a dick.
Hey, Alex, remember what I said about no off the rails segments this year? That streak is over.
That's out the window. That's long gone.
You now
I mean, it's March. That's been gone for 2 months.
Now realize that that's the 4th off the rail segment within the last year, referring to that city.
Well, there's a reason we inducted that into the Wisey Hall of Fame, James.
Can you still buy that jersey or no?
God, I hope so.
It's got to still be on like the NBA shop.
He's going to look it up right now.
Yeah,
right.
It's got to be. Because they don't think of it that way.
They're not twisted like us.
Just like this school you sent me earlier, Mike.
The Catholic University of Michigan.
Please tell me that was like a parody. Please tell me that's a parody.
Did I send that to you too, Alex?
No, you didn't, but I picked
get
it
it.
up.
Yeah. Please tell me that's a parody. Please tell me that is not real.
Don't. John, I swear to God.
Wait, are there priests on campus too? Because that would be just like poetic.
Is there a Christian University of Michigan?
I have good news and I have bad news.
John, it's real.
Wow. All right.
The good news is yes, you can buy the jersey still. The bad news is you can only buy it with Gordon Hayward's name on the back of it.
Look at their nickname, John.
I know. Oh, I know. I saw
Cardinals?
it when you said. I know. Yes.
The Cum Cardinals.
Yes. Yes.
I can't even with this shit.
Oh my goodness.
God, you know what? I mean, between them and the South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Yes.
Which scarily was based in Ohio, which I find hysterical, by the way.
So when I was about 20 years old, little dig back, I worked at a retail shop at Beechwood Mall, and they did a lot of custom made hats. And my brother and I came
I know
together.
this place.
And my brother and I came together, and we actually created one of our own, and it was Nads. That was their. I can't remember what the school name was, but the mascot was the Nads, right? So you'd say "Go Nads, go Nads."
Well, between that and you working at Dick's with me, that's perfect.
Yes. Oh, we did work at Dick's together, didn't we? Oh my gosh. We did work at Dick's together.
The guy is drunk, but there he goes.
We did. Oh my gosh. And not the restaurant.
God, when they're so
one in
old, they
Savannah.
don't even realize they work together. You're the most fortunate person on this panel right now.
What? Really, dude? Just because I got to wear these full time now does not make me old.
I know. I got to start looking into them, though.
You're 6 months younger than me.
And?
Did I stutter?
No. Still. John, you know what the scariest part about me wearing glasses full time now is?
Huh?
No. They're the same ones the son of a bitch in the top left corner wears. Same frames.
Of course they are.
No, I'm not even kidding you. I put them on. I was like, oh, these look nice. I'll go with these. You know, I like this kind of setup. And he goes, hey, are those the ones I have? And I'm like, motherfucker, are you serious right now?
Oh, my gosh. You guys have the same prescription. I'm leaving.
No, he's blinder than I am. But I have the progressive ones, and it's like distance up here,
okay,
middle here, and then down. So
thankfully I don't need that yet. I'm getting close to needing readers, though. I'm getting that. I'm getting there.
Mike has the mullet of glasses.
The mullet of glasses.
And with the way I can't stand changing the sunglasses in these. Next year, I'm getting the
transitions.
The transitions with the progressive in it. Yeah, that's going to be fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's going to be,
It's $366 out the door for these.
$19 on Amazon if you wanted to get by, though.
My name is not Ed Rooney.
Oh my god!
I love how the Chicago guy got it right away.
Just the other day. My God, what a great movie. Okay.
I just found out what I'm closing this episode with.
We said we were going to talk movies in the second half. We still will, but I have to ask, otherwise I'm going to forget. What's the one scene in a movie that every time you watch it, you laugh like you're 4 years old, regardless of what movie it is?
When Cal Penn interviews for the job on Van Wilder. I've come to America to study the great art of muff diving. Every time. Every fucking time.
Alex?
I got to think about that one. Fuck.
John?
John Cusack in Con Air, when he's talking about somebody being loquacious. And the guy's like, loquacious? What the fuck does that mean? And he goes, verbose. How about chatty? And he goes, what's with Dictionary Boy over here? And he goes, how about Thesaurus Boy? So, like, that scene is just so amazing. There's so many good scenes in that movie, but that one I cannot, like, no matter how many times I've seen it and can quote it verbatim, I'm just like, I crack up every single time I see it.
For me, it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off when he's on the phone, where they're passing the payphone around, and he's got the keyboard. And then after he hangs up, how he's actually doing the da-da-da-da-da with the puke sounds on the keyboard.
Come on, Alex.
This one just popped into my head right now, but it's kind of an elite scene, at least in my book. Classic Chris Farley when he's talking to Adam Sandler. That Veronica Vaughn.
That is one nice piece of ace.
Yes.
Did you guys see the news?
Happy Gilmore too. Yeah.
What? Interesting.
And he said it on was he on Lima and
It
Carmen?
was broken on Carmen and Lima yesterday morning, John.
Wow. Please
World
tell me
premiere.
Shooter's going to be there still.
Christopher
That's who broke
McDonald
it.
was the one.
Oh, that's who broke it? Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Carmen and Lima is a morning show in Cleveland, Alex.
Okay.
But John, there is still the greatest scene in movie history. My old
Okay.
man's here.
Oh, my
Your old man is here?
gosh. Oh,
He's
my
waving.
gosh.
It's just your old man. He's as full of shit as anybody.
I don't know.
Hey,
His eyelids are
what's wrong?
his,
Nuke?
eye,
You want
his
to
eyelids
breathe
are
the wrong
closed.
fucking
We need
eyelid
it.
then?
Is it a live
Live chicken?
live chicken? Live chicken. We need a live chicken for Jose over here, and nobody knows what to get him for their wedding gift. Candlesticks are always great.
Maybe a place setting.
Maybe place it.
Hey, Nuke, you breathing through the wrong fucking eyelid again?
Oh my
My earbud fell out.
god!
All right.
He hit
Jim,
it like he knew it was coming. He did.
Well, I held it like an egg, and he scrambled the son of a bitch too. Look at that! He ate a fucking bowl. Now he gets a free steak.
Oh my gosh! I gotta watch that movie again.
Yeah, me too.
It's so good.
So, Jim, what do you say instead of taking a halftime tonight, since we're really into this and we didn't have John for the first little bit, let's get into the blast.
We don't even really have topics, but yeah, let's do it. Since we're already talking movies, let's talk movies.
All right. Yeah, I mean we're here.
Absolutely. I gotta be honest with you. I have been reading that John, they're not doing a season 4 of The Mandalorian. They're getting their own movie.
Yes, I understand that they are getting they are doing a movie. I have seen along the lines of the Star Wars saga, the Acolyte trailer has come out, which will be coming out in June. It looks phenomenal. It looks really, really good. So, and as far as movies are concerned, you got The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes coming out in May. You got Acolyte coming out in June. It's a pretty busy summer for movies.
And Deadpool comes out in July.
Deadpool 3. Yep.
Did you see the trailer for that?
I have not yet.
Best line in movie trailer history. They bring out what looks like a cattle prod, and Wade goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." Is that supposed to scare me? Pegging isn't new for me, my friend, but it is for Disney. And he looks in the fucking camera and breaks the fourth wall.
Gosh. I thought it was going to be the one where he calls himself the Jesus of Marvel.
Oh. No, I wanted the translator thing that he puts up every week. Did you see last week's?
I didn't get last week's.
Last week's was Jake Paul should fight Don Flamenco, Piston Honda.
Glass jaw.
Jake Paul should fight Piston Honda, Don Flamenco, and Super Macho Man on the undercard before fighting Tyson.
King Hippo.
King Hippo.
King Hippo was a pushover, dude.
This asshole's doing the actual King Hippo dance. Alex, please tell me you played Punch Out.
Of course.
Oh, good. Because that's what it's going to look like in this summer.
It might look as bad as the McNeely fight.
Wow. That was fucking horrible.
Yeah. That was just show. That was absolutely just show.
Jim, what do you say we live? We do that one live.
Why would you only want to do a 10-minute stream?
Yeah.
Well, no, we would have full post-fight commentary from the doctors who try and save Logan Paul's life.
Yeah. Did you see the punch that Tyson landed on McNeely?
Yes.
He actually, McNeely came out like a rabbit on Viagra, and Tyson landed that punch with so much actual anger. Like, if you watch the slow motion of that punch, if you look at Tyson's face, he's actually pissed off.
You know what it
when
reminds
he throws that punch. What are we doing?
It reminds me of when who was it? It was either Kenny Mayne or Dan Patrick in The Water Boy when they were doing the highlights of Bobby Boucher with all the anger and pain in his face.
Yes.
But Alex, you know why I'm laughing, right? John, the minute you said rabbit on Viagra, Jim started writing.
No, Tennessee finished. Tennessee just beat Texas.
He's filling out his bracket. He's filling out his bracket.
I thought he was writing it down to use it.
He could be doing that too.
Yeah, he could have it also written down there too, right next to Tennessee.
He's the Tennessee rabbit on Viagra. Okay.
No, but that's the reason why I say that is because I honestly think that Mike Tyson he is so boxing history intelligent that I really think he has a lot of honor in the sport of boxing. Besides the whole crap with Holyfield and the ear biting and all that stuff. But if you look at Tyson, he's actually very smart when it comes to the history of boxing and honoring those that came before him. If you look at a lot of his interviews, I think he's looking at this dude as a joke. And I honestly think he's angry. And I think he's training angry. He's like, if you looked at his sparring, his videos of his sparring, he looks insane. He looks like prime Mike Tyson. It's crazy. And then you have Logan Paul sitting in a recliner throwing punches.
I'm physically frightened when I watch his training videos.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't aged at all.
And we got to keep in mind that he's 57 years old.
Yeah.
Great line in Rocky Balboa, since we're talking about movies.
Yes.
Every great champion has one great fight left in him. God help Logan Paul or Jake. Was it Jake? Logan's the wrestler, Jake's the boxer, right?
Right.
Jake Paul.
Okay.
Unless
God
you're
help.
Apollo Creed.
Bro, really?
Well,
It took me a couple weeks to get over that. You're a dick.
What, for playing it?
Beast mode. Anyway. No, but seriously, Apollo Creed didn't have one great fight left in him. I give you that. Rocky did.
yeah, and he wasted it against Thunderlips.
No, I'm talking about against Antonio Tarver in the 6th movie. So let's get to the other hot topic in sports.
Ooh.
And that would be Shohei Ohtani's Pete Rose impersonation. Alex, you said you had some things to say, sir.
I'll just keep it short and sweet. It just smells of guilt. That's what I'm getting out of this. And MLB is doing everything that they can to brush this under the rug, because it would kill them to see the $700 million man get suspended for the season or for however long it is, because the math ain't math, and that's kind of how I'm looking at it. That's really what I think. And I mean, he very well might, be completely honest about it and have nothing, no knowledge of this. But if I had a shitload of money and somebody took $4.5 million of my money out of my account, I would fucking know about it. I'll tell you that.
According to a report I heard from Keith Olbermann on his podcast, is that there were talks that he took the $4.5 million out to pay off Ohtani's gambling debts.
So does he have a saving grace? Because from what they've found so far is like he's not bet on baseball. So is that what's
It
kind of
wasn't betting in the clubhouse where it has the no gambling signs, and he wasn't betting on baseball. Yeah, the saving grace is he's just a compulsive gambler, and they'll probably send him to some kind of rehab.
sure?
If he bet on baseball, he's done. Or we may get what we're all looking for. And they were
a slap on the wrist, like what the NFL did with Calvin Ridley.
No, he gets a slap on the wrist, and we get the banner road, and Pete Rose finally goes into Cooperstown.
I think you have a better chance of that happening.
I think that's what's going to end up happening.
Unless something happens and Ohtani, after all this surgery stuff and everything, if he starts to fade away and not be as productive and
It's
not
possible.
be as good and starts just kind of fade away and just becomes an average everyday MLB player and isn't, the super stud that he is.
Oh, so he goes Alex Rodriguez.
Yes, exactly.
He goes from Ohtani to A fraud.
Yeah.
Here, talk
But
about
at
yourself
the
in a
same
second.
time, it's like here's my thing. It's like whoa, did he just disappear on us?
Yeah, you had to step out for a minute.
Oh, well, my thing is I'll continue. Is being employed by the NFL, we're not allowed to gamble on any sports. I'm not even allowed to gamble on March Madness. We're allowed to enter like small things as long as the payout isn't greater than I want to say $200. So the payout has to be significantly small, or it's something along those lines. So we can't be caught in a sports book at all during the season. So when it comes to betting sports, we're not allowed to bet sports. Period.
So John, are you allowed to go to a casino, or you just can't go into the sports book?
We not during the season. We are not allowed. If we are traveling. Well, let's put it this way: when we were in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl, you're allowed to walk through casinos. You are allowed to be in casinos. You can't go into a building in Las Vegas and not pass, slot machines.
I was just going to say that because 90% of the major hotels on the Strip or in suburban Las Vegas have a casino in the lobby somewhere.
Yeah, but if you are on site, and by on site, or I should say on location, if you are on location for work for the NFL, you are not allowed to gamble. So traveling to and from Las Vegas, we weren't allowed to sit down and gamble. We weren't allowed to play any games at all from the time we got there to the time we left. Even after the game, we weren't allowed to go out. And even though the season is over, technically, once the Super Bowl is over, the season's over, we weren't allowed because we were still technically there on company time. So we weren't allowed to do anything like that. So the fact that, and Alex hit right on it about how does $4.5 million just disappear from your account and you know nothing about it? I mean, when you're talking about, and I don't care how much money you make, $4.5 million is a lot of money. It's not like $450,000 disappeared. You know what I mean? That would be a little bit of a different story. I could see how he can miss $450,000 out of his, from his multi-millions, whatever, but $4.5 million, that's ridiculous. And the fact that it's his interpreter, that is somebody who works closer with him than anybody else in the league.
But let's also, this was something that I found out yesterday also on that Olbermann podcast that I don't know if a whole lot of people were aware of, is that they're so close, him and his interpreter, that when they locked the players out a few years ago, the interpreter actually quit so he could stay aligned with Ohtani, because as being employed by the Angels, he couldn't contact Ohtani during the lockout, even as his interpreter.
So Just a quick question for you: is this going to change the landscape of sports gambling? If this gets pretty nasty, because there's stadiums all over the country now that have sports books inside the stadium. I mean, the Cubs just open up like a FanDuel, like basically sports book, like within Wrigley Field or just outside of Wrigley Field, so you can bet before the game as a fan. So, is this going to change the landscape of sports gambling because it's everywhere?
I think it's on the horizon. But
I find it funny. I was saying I find it funny that the company that's doing the investigative reporting on this just launched an app with their name on it and bet at the end of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like you don't want people to bet, but then you're kind of ramming it down people's throats. Like, oh, we got billboards on here that says DraftKings and you know MGM Grand Bet or whatever. All these apps now that are just readily available everywhere. But like,
it's like,
well, look at like that one kid that had like out of there's 365 days in a year, and he gambled like 477 times or something in 1 year. Wasn't it like a college kid that just got caught recently doing that? And he was an athlete. He was like a decent athlete at a decent school. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but so you have stuff like that going on. The thing is, I think it's on the horizon for the landscape to change. What I really think should happen though is if they are going to allow sports betting to kind of leak into this, I think they need to make some type of rule to it where you are not allowed to bet on your sport. So if you are somebody like Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders, you can't bet on football or baseball, but you can bet on basketball. Why not?
Let me ask you a question. Agreed. Would you let NFL players bet on college games?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I just want to see.
Yeah, because I think the reason I should say in your profession. Okay. So you should not be allowed to bet in your genre, for lack of a better word, I guess. So the NFL can bet on anything other than the NFL. So MLB, anything but the MLB, because you should not be able to lay down money on something that you can have a direct influence on.
Agreed.
In my opinion. But you have Shohei Ohtani who wants to put $100,000 down on whether or not the Pistons make the playoffs. That's on him. That he has no influence whatsoever on whether the Pistons make the playoffs. I'm just throwing it out there, Mike.
I don't know if anyone has any influence on the Pistons making the playoffs.
I could have said Travis Kelce betting the Mets to make the playoffs. Same thing.
I wouldn't even bet the Mets to make the playoffs.
My only concern with that is really, I mean, short of actually like having 2 or 3 FBI agents in the clubhouse at all times, how do you really kind of enforce this? Like, who's to say, John, you're working a game downtown, and I'm not trying to disparage or anything, but who's to say that, like, your significant other doesn't go into the Jack downtown and put $100 on the Browns?
I think it's because there has to be accountability. There has to be accountability, and there has to be self accountability. And if you guess what? And if you get caught, you're done. Like, I mean, you are Pete Rose done.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I really think that they should hold those accountable to that type of standard, because I think because they need to have a cutoff somewhere. And yes, you're absolutely right. There's nothing stopping me from telling my wife to go put $100 on the Browns for whatever reason. I have a significantly less influential impact on the game's outcome than a player. But at the same time, it's if you have so much dishonor to bet on something that you have a direct influence on, that's shame on you, man. That's shame on you.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
So if it comes out that he was, that it wasn't him laying these bets, obviously this goes away. If he was just basically paying this guy's gambling debts because it's his boy, it goes away.
No, the report that I was hearing is the interpreter was paying Ohtani's debts.
No, I know, but they have no idea yet, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, I see. No, Mike's talking about like where it goes,
Okay.
Where
it's
it goes.
going.
So if this comes out that he didn't do anything, quote unquote, illegal to MLB, and let's be honest, I don't think they're going to say he did, whether he did or he didn't. Not with that cash cow.
That's my thought.
Does this just go away? And how do you make it just go away? Because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of things all the leagues make go away. They all do.
We're definitely not talking about this if it's like, one of the back end guys in the bullpen or like a utility player. But I mean, if we're talking Ohtani or if we're talking Mookie Betts, definitely we're talking about this in the light that we are now.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Here's a hypothetical for you. Bigger blowback. If Ohtani was betting on baseball or if somebody brought Trevor Bauer back?
Ohtani. Without question. Alex?
I would say Ohtani as well, too.
So the Dodgers are willing to deal with a guy who possibly bet on baseball, but someone who was cleared of any wrongdoing, they won't bring back.
Yeah, I think that's more so because they considered him to be a cancer in the locker room. That's why.
Oh, okay. Then that's a different animal, obviously. They still got to pay him his $40 million.
Right.
And he can play with King of Juco.
Oh, yeah. That actually means after we log off tonight, Mike gets the Cage Ball Championship game tonight. It was uploaded earlier today. I don't know who won yet.
Dude, I'm leaving in the morning for vacay. I got to go to bed.
I just love the fact that Sims' team knocked Bauer out in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Because of a shit managerial move that Bauer made.
It brings joy to your heart.
It does.
Might be the second worst decision he's made since he tried to fix that fucking drone during the playoffs.
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That was fucking stupid. Don't bring her into this.
It's probably the sound he made, too.
Damn it. You beat me to it.
No. Don't. We can't. Oh, my God. Last time we I had that sound on and John was here, we got into a different discussion.
So this is unrelated, but it's in regards to the translator for Ohtani, and it says that he claimed that in his Angels media guide he graduated from UC Riverside in 2007, but the school shows no record of that being the case. So this is
that dude.
This is just turning into like an ugly story now.
Awesome. So this guy is okay. Fantastic.
Wonderful.
I'm starting to wonder, does this dude even speak Japanese?
Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
He'd be the Leslie Nielsen of interpreters.
He'd be like Joey trying to speak French.
You mean Enrico Palazzo?
No, the Joey trying to speak French when Phoebe's trying to teach him on Friends.
Yeah.
What else is out there?
I mean, if he won, maybe you'd be able to bet on Mar-a-Lago as of Monday. I hear it's going to be available. Yeah, I got to go there for half a second. If you're going to steal that much money, at least hopefully you can actually get something out of it. Hopefully you won something.
Well, yeah, we don't know what his record is. He could be Bert Kreischer and do what Bert did, which was buy out the entire raffle. I was telling Jim about this yesterday. Kreischer buys out the entire raffle, keeps going up and getting all the prizes. His wife is now in on it, so she's egging him on. He takes the shirt off. A guy at the raffle has got an Austin 316 t-shirt off. He takes his shirt off. All the dads are going crazy. Some woman yells, "Who does this guy think he is?" And it's the bartender yells from the back, "He's the fucking machine."
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Speaking of Star Wars, John,
Yes, sir.
Mark Hamill plays his father in the Machine movie, right?
Yes. yes, I do know that. Yes.
And it was Hamill's son who told him, "Dad, you need to do this."
That's awesome.
Oh
If
my
you
god!
take this course, you'll get a minor.
Stop. Stop, because I almost let the next line roll right off my tongue. Stop.
Yep. just teeing it up for you.
I know you were.
Wow.
Or did you hear the story he told on McAfee when they were trying to pitch him a story in the movie that the Machine went to a strip club? And he goes, No, we actually did. And he tells a story. They walk in and the mob says to him, "Do you want no touch or full touch?" And he goes, "Who the hell wants no
this
touch?"
is legendary. This is almost as old as the Machine story.
Well, it's the same trip.
Yeah.
So he goes, "Well, who the hell wants no touch? I'll take full touch." So he gets in the room with the girl and she goes, "Take off your pants." He goes, No, I want no touch. I want no touch.
Oh my goodness.
He says she starts the lap dance portion and she smells horrific.
Wow.
Like horrible. So he goes, "All right, I'll deal with it for this one, get another girl." Next girl comes in. She smells just as bad.
Oh my god.
Fast forward about 20 years, he's on a date with his wife. They go for Indian food. And he walks in, he goes, "This smells like Russian whores." They had fucking curry for dinner.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
He tells that on McAfee, and I thought the entire toxic table was going down.
That's funny.
And I think that was the abbreviated version, because I think the full version is somebody did get touched and wound up with
There was diseases present.
I want to say somebody either ended up with a broken nose or or dislocated junk or something.
Something like that. But I didn't want to get into that. Thank you.
Wow.
Dude.
To think he also had a show on the Travel Channel years ago.
Yeah, when he got the shit beat out of him in it.
Yep.
All right, speaking of shit shows, let's talk about the draft a little more real quick. So the first pick is made. This is the worst kept secret since the number one picks used to sign their contracts 3 weeks before the fucking draft. John, your opinion of what the Chicago Bears have done in moving Justin Fields and bringing Caleb Williams and essentially guaranteeing Caleb Williams is the number one pick in the draft.
I mean, I can take a shit and put it in a box and mark it guaranteed, but that doesn't mean it's going to work, right?
Save that.
Did you say save that, Alex?
Yeah, can we save that and I'm gonna need that on fucking repeat.
I mean, seriously, what you're basically taking Justin Fields and replacing him with Justin Fields, and you're doing nothing else to help said.
Well, I mean, they brought in Keenan Allen. They kept DJ Moore. They brought in DeAndre Swift.
I'm still waiting waiting for you to name somebody who's worthy of this.
But here's what I said.
Keenan Allen is not Keenan Allen that he used to be.
No, I agree.
DJ Moore, I'm sorry, Alex, is a flash in the pan.
I hear you.
Dude, he's the biggest critic of his Chicago teams of anybody. He's basically turned the White Sox into fucking Voldemort.
And I'm not saying anything untrue.
No, exactly.
I'm not saying anything out of bounds. They like I said, they took Justin Fields, replaced him with another Justin Fields, and they really did nothing more else. I mean, yeah, that's great. They went out and got Keenan Allen. That's awesome. who's going to block for him? Who's going to let him
that
throw
was my point.
Who's going to let him throw the ball? I mean,
And that was my point.
They still have zero running game. I'm sorry, NFL, you have to have a running game to balance out some sort of a passing attack. And if you can't have a running game and you can't block for your quarterback.
And everybody knows how good every time the Bears draft a quarterback, how well they draft or how well they develop that quarterback. I mean, just nothing but legends in the backfield there.
Yeah.
Legends. Okay.
But hey, if they want to put a Band-Aid on an arterial bleed and say that it's okay, then that's fine.
You just brought out your NFL knowledge and the fact you work in the medical field all at the same time. I have to give you some serious fucking props.
I mean that's
Band-Aid on an arterial bleed. Did you decide you were going to be a writer tonight?
No, dude. This is all off script. This is all just.
You mean you pulled Rabbit on Viagra and Band-Aid on an arterial bleed out of your head?
Dude, let's go. Let's just keep rolling. We're
Jim.
Okay.
Jim, I'm gonna need you to snip those 3, okay? Just line those up, okay?
Yeah. It's I got some film out tomorrow.
So let me ask this question, and this is for all you guys. So we know Caleb Williams is coming off the table first. Who picks second again?
Washington.
John, there's rumors after Pro Day J.J. McCarthy could go in the top 5. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely disagree. Absolutely disagree.
Alex, you had my reaction.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's why.
Would you go Drake May at 2 if you're Washington, John? Or would you go the Heisman Trophy winner?
There's a reason why teams are drafting this high in the draft, because they need a lot of help. And you can't as and it's kind of like a toddler in a toy store. You know, they always want the flashiest thing. They always want, the big toy that's been on the commercials, for the past couple months leading up to Christmas. They always want, but they need the structure and balance first. And I think I honestly think they need a corner, a shutdown corner, or an edge rusher. I think a team like Chicago, a team like Washington, I think they would do better getting a stud defensive player and working on that side of the ball first. Just my opinion, rather than going out and ruining somebody's career.
I mean, not everybody can be Houston last year who did it at the same time. With picks 2 and 3 of C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. Although, I got to be honest with you, I didn't see that big of a year from C.J. Stroud coming into the NFL. I did not. As much as I love C.J., I didn't see it. But for the first time in a long time, the New England Patriots are picking in the top 5. First time since pre-millennium, it's not Bill Belichick on the sidelines or in the front office. And they just traded Mac Jones for a bucket of golf balls.
If J.J. McCarthy was to go in the top 5, that's probably where he would go.
You think he goes to New England?
I think they would be the only team that would grab him, but I don't think they will. But I just think if he was to go in the top 5, that's where he would go. Other than that, nobody else is going to take him.
Jim, you've been eerily quiet since I mentioned JJ going in the top 5. What's your opinion on him in that realm of the draft?
I think he's a back half. I think it's a lot more realistic that JJ certainly doesn't go in the top 5. I think because we know that Caleb's coming off the board number 1 in Chicago. That's a foregone conclusion. I want to think that New England, me personally, I'm looking to figure out a way to block Washington from turning in the card and getting it to the podium so I can run up and grab Drake May. But I don't think JJ is going to be – I mean, you could have the potential of three quarterbacks coming off the board in the first three picks. I mean, name the last time that's ever happened, if it has. Or fit for McCarthy would be an 11 to Minnesota.
There's also a lot more rumblings within Washington that they're going to go Jaden Daniels, not Drake May.
Really?
Yeah,
because that's we got to remember that Jaden Daniels is the one that not a whole lot of people are talking about. He's a first round pick, but there's some people saying, is he top 5? Is he back half? Is he top 10? He's certainly not going to be number 1. Is he 2? He's probably the X factor right now, where all the other dominoes fall. Because I think with Gerard Mayo, I think he's going to want a little bit more of a stable passing attack, especially in New England. Whereas, you don't want a guy is when the weather sucks that bad. You don't want your quarterback being able to take off and run on those field conditions. You want your running backs to be able to handle the bulk of that load. So that's why I think they would actually go. If Washington went Drake May at 2, I think I don't see Jalen going 3rd to New England there.
John, this is for you. After the mass exodus in Los Angeles, would Jim Harbaugh, if he's there, take Marvin Harrison?
Yes.
So say if Odunze goes 4 to Arizona and is the first pass catcher off the board, could you see him dipping to take Marvin Harrison?
Absolutely, because now he's in the NFL. Who cares about that? That has no bearing whatsoever. It shouldn't, and it shouldn't, because now it's a business. College is a little bit of a different animal because you get kids that want to be there. NFL is different because you get to draft people that don't want to be there.
Yeah,
so to speak.
So essentially, what John is saying is that if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there at 5, to paraphrase somebody who Alex would be familiar with, you can put it on the board.
Yeah, no, I would honestly, I was just making sure that you and I were on the same page. I think if he's sitting there at 5,
he'd be a fool not to. He would be a fool not to.
Absolutely.
He would be an absolute fool not to.
Outside of Caleb Williams, and I'll throw this around here, who is the one guy that you are knocking people over to run up and if they're at that spot, take anyone in the top 10 you want. If somebody falls, who are you knocking over to hand that card into to make sure that nobody else runs up ahead of you?
For Marvin. That if he's there, you have to take him. If you don't need a quarterback. One, because as much as I was carrying the water for him when he was there, Kyle was not good. He was not very good. And Marvin still went for over 1,000 yards, bunch of touchdowns, and was the only thing he had. He's going to translate. The only other player I can see you wanting to do that for is Odunze, the kid from Washington. Mm-hmm. John, who are you thinking? That you're just beating the shit out of somebody to get him in the car?
That's a good question. Well, probably, if I had to think, because I'm old school. I'm old school and stuff like this. Wide receivers, especially this season, it's such a huge pool. I don't know if I'm actually beating anybody down to go get Marvin Harrison when you have other receivers out there. I'm not going to say are on his level, but I do think the wide receiver position is very deep this year. One position that I don't think is very deep this year would be the tackle position. And
Joel?
I think the kid out of Penn State.
Okay.
I can't think of his last name. It's like Fasham. I can't think of his last name. What's that?
Fashanu.
Yeah, yes. I just think I think tackle is you have to get your tackle when you can get your tackle, and I think if I'm rushing to the board and knocking people over to get there, it's because I'm going after a tackle.
Alex, let me rephrase this. Are you cutting ankles to go get a tackle at 9?
I would be. You need to protect your quarterback, whoever that may be. And I know that the sexy pick
You guys
is
are
always,
at 9.
right. We're at
You
9.
guys are at 9.
Right.
So are you running for a tackle to protect Caleb?
I would say so. I know that the sexy pick is always like to get your elite receiver or tight end, even though they don't need another tight end in the room. But you got to protect your quarterback without a doubt.
Jim, what about you?
I'm going to go a little off the board here, and I'm going to say I think you've got a better chance of getting him in the back half of the top 10, but I'm going to say Brock Bowers.
Tight end.
Because
Okay.
you're going to get a run on quarterbacks and receivers, and the guy that you want may not necessarily be there, which actually means a guy like a Bowers could slip to a team maybe like a Tennessee. Maybe if Minnesota wanted to, go a different direction and solidify some weapons, and then maybe get a quarterback in the second round or something like that. If let's say that Caleb, Daniels, Drake May, if all those guys are off the board, does Minnesota maybe actually run up and grab a guy like Bowers, who you're going to get 6, 7, 8 years worth of quality versatility as?
Well, I know Bowers has been linked to the Chargers as well, because Harbaugh loves the tight ends, but Bowers, he's more than a tight. He's like
he's a hybrid.
He's a hybrid. He's a more polished Kyle Pitts.
Yes.
He's not as fast as Pitts.
So Mike, I know how you feel about Harrison. So if you have Harbaugh sitting there at 5, right? He's going to have some choices. And if you have Harrison and Bowers sitting there at 5, do you go with Harrison at wide receiver, or do you go with Bowers, who is more of a hybrid, can play multiple positions, can do a little bit more? Because the only reason why I ask this is because as good as Harrison is he a legitimate NFL deep threat? And in my opinion, I think Bowers is a little bit more valuable as far as the things he can do versus the versatility of what Harrison can do.
I still take Marvin for this reason. Justin Herbert's still young. He's locked up. You can form the chemistry you need with those two. With all the changes that the Chargers have made, they really don't have anybody in the wide receiver room. So, I mean, and this is just me. I love Bowers. All I hear about where I live is Brock Bowers. That's all I hear about. But I still take Marvin, and call me a homer if you want, but having watched a hell of a lot more of him than Bowers, with what Marvin had to work with this year, the numbers he put up and the way that he was the focal point and still got it done. Yeah, I think Marvin's going to be the guy that I would take if I'm Coach Harbaugh in that spot.
Last thing I actually wanted to bring up on my end of this conversation, I'm going to pose this question to John. Let's go back to the Chargers here, because they're the hot topic, because they're the wild card right now at 5. They're not in a position to really kind of move up and jump over people, and they're going to be somebody who's going to have somebody major fall to them. With Harbaugh there, with the way that Harbaugh coaches, let's put the question back on the table. Harrison versus Bowers. Would he rather actually go with a deep threat, or would he rather go with a guy who can pass catch like a Bowers, but also knowing how much that Big Ten mentality likes to run the football? Would he also like to have a guy that not only can catch but also can block on the edge?
I honestly think that he is in a real bad spot because of his
Bowers or Harbaugh?
Harbaugh.
Okay.
Because of the Michigan connection. Because if he takes Harrison which would probably be, and I agree with you, Mike. I think I would probably take Harrison over Bowers. I probably would if I had that decision. But at the same time, and then if you have Harbaugh sitting there with a decision to make, okay, are we doing Harrison or Bowers? Harrison or Bowers? If he takes Harrison, everybody knows it's for the right reasons. But if he takes Bowers, everybody's going to be like, well, he didn't take Harrison because he went to Ohio State. So he kind of runs into that kind of situation, if you will. Even though I think either one, I don't think he could be wrong. I would not say he was wrong in picking Bowers or Harrison.
I'm sorry, Mike, real quick, but when you were going Harrison Bowers, the only thing I kept thinking was Finkel-Einhorn.
Finkel-Einhorn.
Einhorn is a man.
The sheer fact that he went to the crying game is. Hey, Ace, do you have any more of that gum? No, I don't. That's none of your damn business.
I beg you, and
Thank you for asking.
You to stay out of my personal affairs.
Chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang.
I was just gonna,
Yeah.
I was just gonna fucking do that. You are killing me, all of you. So we are at 2 hours and 1 minute, James. I believe it to be time for band practice, sir.
Would you shut up and just push the button already?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It's the YZ Translator on the Wise Guys Sports Show.
I'm forever unclean.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the YZ Translator, the favorite segment of the night because it is the last segment of the night. As we give, I can't even talk. The YZ Translator, where we give our guests and ourselves one name inside or outside the sports world till we can pull out the first thing that pops into our head. Some of the classics are John referencing Kyle Shanahan being a Pornhub star, Alex calling Dwayne Johnson a shitty actor.
Not wrong.
I didn't say he was wrong. Jim calling the birthday boy a douche canoe in a sing-song voice, and myself comparing Brett Favre to Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard. Now, this week, get the fuck out of here.
That's awesome.
So this is the new stuff, Alex. He does this. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
He pulls this out. The one last week, I almost lost my mind when he did the fighting one. The other one, because I had asked him the one week to please put Mike is Marvel Jesus on the bottom. But he didn't do it. That was the week he did when you're sliding into first and you feel something burst. Dude, it's fucking stupid. What was it? Were you on it the week we put with the scoreboard operator please stop live streaming Fortnite on the Jumbotron?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that one. The three of you guys were on that one. I watched that one. And I saw that scroll pop up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is freaking awesome!" I was like, "I'm not even on the show, and like that is so relevant."
Well, that was the Super Bowl. That was the Super Bowl preview.
Because we knew you were coming on the next week.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You were getting your report card. So I am going to start now. Each of us will each give each other. We'll get two from just about everybody. So the translators are going to be a little long tonight. But I am going to start with my friend Alex down in the bottom left here. And I am going to give you one that's right in your wheelhouse, sir. And the first name in the YZ Translator for you is Tim Anderson.
Has he woke up yet from his knockout? Wow.
You know what's funny is my answer from last week could have almost applied here too.
Wow.
Hey, John, I used the line about the extra torque on the elbow because of the sticky stuff last week.
Oh yes, yes, that's awesome.
He asked me Jake Paul last week, and I quoted when John Leguizamo got knocked out in the longest yard.
Oh my
I got a
gosh.
bird. His name is Frankie. So tell Frankie you got knocked out. Fuck out.
Debo. James, who are you picking on first?
John,
Yeah.
your name in the YZ translator tonight. We brought him up a few minutes ago. Christopher McDonald.
Wow. Oh man, I'm at a loss. I'm at a total loss right now.
I mean, he has given us the best news any of us would have heard all.
I know.
You're
I
like
know.
him when the two fat bikers were having sex in the woods and off the tee box.
I mean, this should be a layup. This should absolutely be a layup. But I mean, I have nothing bad, nothing crazy, nothing out of the woods other than just shoot. Like,
Exactly.
I got nothing. There's nothing really to. See, I think I tried to go too deep in the well. I there. I should have stayed at surface level. Did
you just psychoanalyze a translator?
I think I might have. Was that a mistake?
Do what I say. Stay out of my way, or you'll pay.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You piece of shit for breakfast?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh.
And the ever famous Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Yeah, I went too deep. I went into the well.
Well, since you went into the well, you can give the next person their next victim.
Yeah, I feel like Timmy from Lassie. I fell in the well.
Thank God Marquette's playing at noon. I can take all morning cutting this shit tomorrow.
All right, so we're just going to kind of go into this in this square circle, if you will. Mikey.
Circle against the square?
Circle against the square, yes. And the block. Mikey, we're gonna go with someone who has been in the headlines very recently.
Ooh.
For very good reasons.
Okay.
We're gonna go with, and I'm not sure if you know the name. I would hope you would, especially in the last 24 hours. Audie Crooks.
I got nothing. Who is that?
She is the freshman Iowa State basketball player who scored 40 points yesterday.
She went for 40 and 12 in the tournament?
Yes, in a 20-point comeback victory. She shot 18. She shot 18 for 20 from the floor and scored 40 points.
Mrs. O'Neal.
Yep, that is pretty accurate. If you saw, I would highly recommend. Yes,
I couldn't remember the name.
Woo!
Exactly.
Absolute beast, and I mean that in a very good way. Wow,
absolutely. She went off.
She just completely dominated. It was unbelievable. It was awesome.
Am I seeing? Is she like 6'4"?
She has to be, because she made the other team look like they were all 5'5".
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, because
unless the other team did not have a player taller than 6 foot, she must be. I don't know. I'm gonna look her up right now because I really don't know her stat. 6'3". She's 6'3".
She's 6'3". Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, she was so good. Alex, did you see that?
I did.
Oh, she was so good.
And let's also, state Captain Obvious here. What a name, too.
Yeah.
That's a
Audie
great
Crooks, yeah.
basketball name. And I'm just reminded of that is because there's the only game left on the schedule right now is Oregon and Creighton, and Creighton's probably got the best name in men's college basketball right now. Ryan Kalkbrenner. That's a good one.
I mean, it's not the coldest Crawford, but it'll do.
Or God Sham God if we're actually going back to the 90s.
That is the second time in the show God Sham God's been brought up.
Has it?
John did it the first time.
Oh, okay.
So, Alex, who are you hitting this one with?
Let's go Jim on this one.
Oh, crap.
Nice.
You might be entirely indifferent, but since you're like fully entrenched in the NCAA tournament, we're gonna go with everybody's favorite team here and talk Duke for a second. And your name is Kyle Filipowski.
Didn't so much show up against Vermont, but man, the boy can play. And the last time I actually was this involved with Duke as being a Dookie, as I am a diehard Duke fan, it's a lot better of an option than when Grayson Allen was the focal point.
That's just because Grayson Allen's a prick.
I grant the premise, yes.
Whatever that means.
And the last time we brought up Kyle Filipowski on this show, we had a very nice 30-minute discussion on court.
We did on the court storming. One, two, three. Who am I picking now?
You know what you look like? You look like you're playing Press Your Luck.
No whammy, no whammy.
No whammies, and stop. James.
Wah, wah.
Stop and a whammy. James. Your second name in the translator is someone we've spoken of already this evening. And it is someone who we have spoken of, I would say, semi-fondly. But your second name is Jameis Winston.
We can talk all the crab legs we want. We can talk all the allegations that we want. But for my money, he's always going to be remembered as fumbling the ball and Jadeveon Clowney just picking up and taking off in a playoff game.
Or you could just eat the W. Please tell me you saw that.
I did, but if I'm going to eat anything, I'm actually going to rub the salt in the wounds like last week where I was just doing this with Auntie Annie's and everything with you last week, you prick.
Jim, I just really quickly, because it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was waiting for you to turn it to Terrell Owens and be like, "That's my quarterback."
That's so bad. No. That deserves the better one. Oh, God. I love
Talk
that
about two guys that just need to go away, Jameis and T.O.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's see.
if we're being completely factual, T.O. nobody gives a shit about, and Winston after Cosby stubs a toe and misses a month, and they're gonna beat the shit out of Winston with that Swiss cheese offensive line.
Yeah, we'll do a full Browns breakdown coming up in the next few weeks. Probably want to have John on for that one too, so we can have someone who actually sees them live all the time help us tell them exactly what the fuck is wrong with them. James, who are we picking on next out of your mouth, sir?
John.
Here we go.
Wait, I've already given John.
You have.
Christopher McDonald. Alex. Hopefully you've seen some of like what actually came out for a book this person is writing and some of the chapters or the paragraphs that have been leaked with what she said about a certain individual.
Are you going Ronda Rousey?
I am going Ronda Rousey.
Wow.
I mean, let it fly. Tell her to let it fly. I'm here for it.
Was she talking shit about Vince?
She is.
Good.
Yeah. She said, I seen just snippets of it. I haven't read the book or nothing, but she said that she would never go back to WWE because it was a shit show for whatever that means to her. And like, she pretty much badmouthed McMahon like to the T, and also like with his cronies as well to some guys who were like, basically like his right hand man. They're just like they're up his ass basically.
And she loves all the people that she works with. Tip one of those. I love the people I work with. I hate the people who I work for because of all the steps that they did to bring her in as a combat sports legend, especially with what she's done for female combat sports or action sports like that. And then it just basically ruined really everything that she'd ever done.
Yeah.
The book hasn't come out, but the chapters leaked earlier this week.
John, you're up next.
All right. Alex, I'm going to treat you like you're 5 years old, and I'm going to put this one on a T for you.
All right.
Make sure he runs to first base, not third.
I'm gonna run to third.
Yes. And no slow motion running. Have you ever seen the kid that does that? Does the slow motion run from third base? That is so awesome. Or have you seen the catcher who dances because the kids play walk up music now, and the batter was playing walk up music, and the catcher was just like, I was like, that's awesome. But here you go.
You would have done
that. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
John would have been the dancing umpire at the Bananas games,
or the dancing umpire in what is it with Leslie Nielsen?
Oh my god!
Here it is. The Ephus, Caleb Williams.
You better not strike out, my friend. Better be the guy. Better be the guy.
All right. I thought you were going to tear him up, but all right.
Paul Callahan. Sorry.
One more time, Mike.
Paul Callahan.
After game one, whether they win or lose, and if his performance is subpar, I will tear him up the way that people tore up Justin Fields.
So Mike, does that mean that Bo Callahan's going to be the safe word?
Ooh.
Oh.
That's what she said.
Jim, you're on the board, or you're on the board.
John, Michael.
Is it?
Yes.
Your name in the Wisey translator for me this evening. Oh, we've had some fun with him on the phone the last couple of days. John Calipari.
Is it too early to say he's turning into Rick Pitino?
No, because Rick Pitino actually had a winning season in the NBA, and Calipari got fired after 2.5, 50 games under 500.
No, I'm talking about throwing your players under the bus because you're a bitch of a coach.
Did you see what he said in his exit press conference after the loss yesterday?
I don't fucking care.
He said that they may actually need to look at how they recruit players, and John will appreciate this with the whole NIL thing. That they may not want to go out and get freshmen. That they may actually want to start getting more transfer students, like as if you're a blue blood.
Mr. One and Done is now saying he doesn't want freshmen.
He's saying he may reconsider the way that he goes out and brings in freshmen.
John, eat a Snickers. You're fucking hungry.
Well, is there any difference? Is there any difference in Mr. One and Done bringing in 5 freshmen that are going to be drafted versus bringing in 5 transfer players that could end up being drafted? Is there really any difference?
For the record, just to clarify, one and done means the players coming in and leaving after 1 year, not what Kentucky does in the first round of the NCAA tournament 2 of the last 3 years.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, it's the same. It's the same thing. I look at it as the same thing. It's bringing in a freshman who is probably only going to stay there 1 year and then be and then go to the draft is I mean, there's no difference in that than getting like a sophomore who wants to come in, play for 1 year and then get drafted again. It's still a one and done. It's just he's not a freshman one and done.
Yeah, but
he's one and done in that organization, in that program.
But here's my question though. I thought it was if you didn't leave after your freshman year, you had to stay till your junior year. I thought that was what the NBA CBA said. Through
your junior year? So
yeah, like you got to play that. You either you leave after your freshman year, or maybe I'm thinking of. No, I'm pretty sure.
You might be right.
It's different now, but if you didn't leave after your freshman year, you had to stay the extra 2 and come out as a junior.
You might be right on that because let's also be honest. When we look back over the NBA draft in the last 10 years, how many times have you really heard sophomores getting drafted?
Yeah.
It's usually either freshmen, juniors, or seniors, or somebody international.
Or if you see sophomore, it's a redshirt sophomore who lost a year because of redshirting and they counted it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or during the course where everyone was granted an extra year of eligibility regardless.
Exactly.
Well, then I guess with that being said, I guess we would have to see how many sophomores he brings in. And then that would counteract his whole one and done philosophy.
Well, there's where
because then they would have to be there for 2 years.
Well, here's my question on this with Calipari being basically nothing more than a basketball vocational coach at this particular point, prestigious university. If he doesn't bring in freshmen, who the hell is he going to land? Because at this particular point, he's going to be if you're looking to bring in sophomores or juniors that are going to base it or even senior transfers with extra eligibility, who the hell are you going to land from a program that's going to make a difference? Because you're right now he's trying to equate like he's going to start plucking guys from Duke or UConn or the back end of their rosters. Those kids are not leaving. You're going to get mid-major players at this point.
Yeah, but you're going to get somebody like somebody who shows up in the tournament like this year and blows people away from a mid-major, and it's like, oh, like and puts himself on the map because of the tournament. He may have done this all year long. Like you look at some of these guys from mid-majors in the past, they had those kind of performances all year. It's only because the tournament helped put them on a national stage to help get them, the prominence that they deserved.
Yeah, did Jack Golke just play himself into basically getting a G League contract? With what he did in the last 72 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the guys in the mid-majors who are making names for themselves in the tournaments, are usually upperclassmen. Juniors, seniors, sometimes fifth-year seniors. In the case of Jack Golke, those are the guys making the names for themselves. I mean, Steph Curry was a senior.
Yeah, but say you have a junior who does that
transfer for the 1 year,
for 1 year, and then is done. You know, I mean, I'm you're absolutely right, Mike. But you can have somebody like I don't. I'm just just throwing. I'm just going to throw a name out there. Not that it matters, but like a LeBron James Jr., who might stick around because let's face it, he didn't exactly have a very stellar year. His team didn't even go five. Did they even go 500?
No, USC's season was down.
So if he sticks around and say he comes out as a junior and does pretty, or as a next year, say he comes back next year as a sophomore. So say he stays and then he's locked in until his junior year, comes back as a sophomore. Say they win the pack, they have a nice run in the tournament. He's someone who could flip. Who you could flip, depending on people that are coming back. You also got to look at their program structure as well. You could steal somebody from, say somebody is a sophomore, a starting sophomore on a team that has 4 starting seniors. Those seniors could be gone at the end of the year, and he's going to be like the lone wolf. Now, some players might take that and say, you know what, I want to run with that. I want to be the guy. I want to be the lone wolf. But some guys can be like, hey, you know what, I want to win. So I'm going to go somewhere that has some experience in winning. And I want to go, like, I just lost my other 4 starters to graduation or the draft or whatever. So I have nobody coming back to help me out. I want to go somewhere where I can win. You know, I mean, basketball is a lot harder than football because it's just, you have such a smaller number of people that can affect the game. But so to play this NIL thing with basketball, I think is a little bit harder to do than with football. But it's still going to be there. It's just not going to be as prominent. It's not going to be as grand of a number as you'll see in football.
Well, because these kids can play in the tournament and get endorsements from the tournament.
Yeah,
they don't need
the
NIL
and then they can go back to their Montana State and still dominate while they're getting when they're getting a deal because of the stuff they did in the tournament last year.
Well, since we're all partially watching March Madness, I'm heavily invested. I know you've probably been casually watching. If you haven't even watched, but I mean, if you've even watched any of the games, but everyone's keeping up with the scores and everything. Where do you guys come out? Because you've got guys like Calipari who do not want to expand the tournament, Tom Izzo is definitely a proponent of expanding the tournament because he doesn't want to end up losing to a mid-major like this. Where do you guys come out? Do you stay at 68? Do you go to 80? Do you go to 96? I mean, where do you guys fall out? Or if you do expand, how are you setting it up?
Don't play with it. Don't play with it because this is what the people who love college football want. You're showing them exactly how it can be done. Now, football's a different game. You can't play every other day because of the physical demands. But why are you going to mess with a good thing? People are even buying into the play-in games. The play-in games are so popular, the NBA went to a play-in game. Don't fuck with it.
I agree. Go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
Well, I agree too. I would not tinker with it at all. There's no reason to.
I think the only way that you tinker, you keep it at 68, but you don't put the 2 16 versus 16 games. You make it the last. You take the last 4 in, and you make all those play-in games on Tuesday and Wednesday. You make them the last 8 at-large teams, and then the loser of those games, if they're in condition enough, they get a number 1 seeding in the NIT, and you start the NIT a couple of days later.
That's what my shit school team did.
I think it's good where it's at. I think the number is good where it's at. I think if you start expanding significantly, then I think you water down the regular season. You water down the tournament, the conference tournaments. I think all that gets watered down significantly. And I'm not talking just a little drip. I'm talking a significant watering down. I mean, you already have teams that are like 13-13 making a 9 seed. You know, you're gonna have you're gonna have a team that's 8-20 getting getting a 18 seed or whatever it could end up being.
Yeah, don't mess with it.
You know what I mean? I don't think. And you know what? And if you don't want to lose a mid wager, then beat the freaking mid major.
Right.
I mean, sorry, Izzo, but you might want to take a page out of Saban's book and retire, because I think the game is passing him by. I think the game has passed Saban by, and he's like, you know what? I'm bowing out gracefully.
For one of the, basically now that Coach Krzyzewski's gone, Tom Izzo is the peak of college basketball head coaches right now. More than Bill Self, more than any of them, more than Mark Few, although Mark Few was really close. But for him to make that get off my lawn type statement, I think you're right.
You've been the head coach at Michigan State, who's been a perennial tournament like your tournament staple. The man, he's like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just find a way to get in.
I brought the stat up to Mike last week. The 3 longest active streaks of making the NCAA tournament in history are number 1 Kansas, number 2 Michigan State, number 3 Gonzaga.
Yeah, they're always there. They're always there. I don't remember ever making a bracket and Michigan State not being in it.
Me neither.
Yeah. So it's like, but the thing is, at the same time, if you want to beat the if you don't want the mid majors there, then beat them, eliminate them, get rid of them. Like, don't get rid of them by not inviting them, by not allowing them the chance. Beat them. You have the better team. You have the better coach. You have the better pretty much everything. You have the better program. You have the better prestige. You have the better everything. You should be beating them. And if you're not, then I think we need to take a closer look at what's going on at home.
Mike, real quick, our girl Caitlin, 27-8-10 in Iowa's opening win. Paige Buchers, 28-11-7. And then who else did see went absolutely off? Charisma Osborne at UCLA, 15-15-9. So big numbers in the first round for the women.
I told
now
you.
Back to real sports.
Wow, John. I want to see her win a title, but outside of that,
if it's not Caitlin, I'd like to see Paige Buchers get it and UConn.
Yeah. So, gentlemen,
I just don't care. And you know, I saw a stat. I can't remember where I saw it at, but someone was saying like the women's Final Four has sold 6 times as many tickets this year as the men's Final Four. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, that's fantastic. That's great. I'm very happy for them. But at the same time, the women's Final Four is vastly more predictable than the men's Final Four, for one. 2, the women's Final Four is going to be played here in Cleveland at a venue that is significantly smaller than the men's Final Four. You're going to have 22,000 people at Quicken Loans Arena versus 80,000 people at Energy and
it's in Phoenix, I think.
At the football stadium.
Yeah, they're in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Look at the goddamn bracket right now.
What is it? The Energy Stadium? I don't know what their name of their stadium is.
I mean, I know you're not going to put 80 in there, but that's what they do with those stadiums is they basically kind of set everything off. So, I mean, you're probably going to get 30 to 40 in there.
At least you're going to have 2, almost 3 times as many people there for that game versus the women's Final Four. So the fact that they've sold 6 times more tickets right now, currently, yeah, that's great. But at the end, when it's all said and done, they're not going to sell as many tickets. Period. There's not.
Although I will say right now, it's the Caitlin Clark effect. Is that it's definitely there's a lot more eyes on that sport right now because of her. So kudos to her.
Well, yeah, and then I wouldn't even say it's all just Caitlin Clark. It's been a hodgepodge of things this year. It's the Angel Reese from LSU, who is apparently the Dennis Rodman of women's college basketball, and just basically picking a fight with anybody she possibly can, whether she wins the fight or not.
Paige Bucher's returning after back-to-back years of blowing out her knees and still being in possible National Player of the Year contention. Yeah, girl from USC. Yep.
I mean, so there are definitely headliners, but like I said, I think the women's Final Four is greatly more predictable than the men's Final Four.
John, I can I can agree with that, because what you're probably going to see with the women's Final Four is you're going to see at least 2 number ones and probably a number 2. You might get a 3 that squeaks in there. But I mean, with the men, we had a 9 last year. We had a 7 or 8 win it a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap things up, as Alex has got to go. I got to go, and got a long day tomorrow. Alex, row 7, we making a comeback, or are we still on the I work too much struggle bus like me?
It's the goal, but the goal is just kind of keeps getting pushed out and pushed out and pushed out. So hopefully one day, but I enjoy the hell out of logging on with you guys and, chatting it up for 2 hours plus. So it's been a blast.
And we're going to see you before too long for draft night as well, we hope.
I plan on it. I will make time for that for sure.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Well, Jim, Alex, by the way, I got to read.
Go ahead.
I got to read the thing from today, but as usual, I'm sure it's going to be well written, and it goes without saying.
Thank you very much. It was about how as many great upsets as we had, some double digit winners in the first round. How could you go wrong with Oakland knocking out a blue blood and a one and done like Kentucky, and just kind of throwing it back in their face? It was even sweeter than Yale over Auburn, although the hilarity of that was more so Barkley's reaction afterwards.
He had a cigar at halftime. So, John, I know you and I are eagerly waiting the same thing. That it needs to be July.
Yeah, I know. Yes. Yeah. As soon as possible. And with my streaming and everything picking up now, I'm actually going to be in the market here for a new PC to get things rocking and rolling, and really kind of get that ball rolling on that aspect of things.
Because somebody had vertical streaming tonight, I saw.
I did, and it looks like that might be the way to start going with some things, at least for a little while. So I'll be doing that a little bit more here in the near future.
And Michael, what are we expecting here with Big Rican now that you're back?
This coming Wednesday will be the full 2024 New York Mets preview and my picks for each division winner and who's going to go to the playoffs. I will not do a World Series pick because that's going to be down the road, but we're going to preview the 2024 Mets and be as realistic as possible. That's tough for me with these guys. I'm excited. It's baseball season.
Speaking of which, next week, Michael?
Next week, the Wise Guys 2024 baseball preview. Yes, it's 2 days after opening day, which is Thursday the 28th, but we felt the Four Horsemen was far more important than doing a baseball preview this week. So same spot, 9 p.m. next Saturday night.
And then we'll be on hiatus the week after.
We're off the week after because I'm away. And then we will come roaring back the following weekend, and we will get back at it. Maybe we'll try and get Patrick for the following weekend so we can do a full Cavs playoff preview.
Yep.
But lots coming. And then Thursday night, April 25th, the live first round draft reaction. I say we make that a Horseman event if we can. And the 1 year anniversary of the Wisey Translator.
Wow.
When Jim looked at Alex and I and said, "Put that name in the YZ translator, Sanika Wallace."
Sanika.
So for the Sporting Sith, row 7, JC Bluno and myself, the Big Rican, I have one thing to say, and that is life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop around and take a look once in a while, you might miss it. See you next week.
Night, everybody.
Night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Adios, guys.